5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ladies and gentlemen and in-betweeners, on this week's On the Rocks, we're back in our remodeled studio, and it's HALLOWQUEEN with TV personalities and the queens of looks, honey. Our favorite strange plant, Laganja Estranja, is here, and the Widow Vondu. Do you, honey? And the worst thing to happen to Latino since Evita, the movie, Miss Cardi G is here, my guest co-host, and me, your favorite host with the sassy most. So raise a glass and let the drinks begin.
Life is a banquet, and most poor suckers are starving to death.
I'd like to propose a toast.
This is On the Rocks with Alexander, where I drink with your favorite celebrities as we talk about fashion, entertainment, pop culture, reality TV, and, well, that's about it. So pop a cork, lean back, and raise a glass to On the Rocks.
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. We are back in the studio. So buttons and bows and pantyhose, On the Rocks podcast, a place where we're too glam to give a damn. I'm so excited to be back in the studio, except I had to put pants on. My pants, my back. No, I never done a jumping jack. Was that good? Because we have a rapper on the show. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
But let's have a moment of silence for my belt. There we go. Okay, this show is brought to you by DragFor.Fans, the free-to-use website connecting drag queens with their fans, with live shows, one-on-one chats, and more. Go to DragFor.Fans, sign up today. And speaking of Drag for Fans, it's HALLOWQUEEN time. On the Rocks will be hosting the Drag for Fans online party Thursday, October 29th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific, with Honey Davenport, Sonique, Monique Hart, Silky Nutmeg Ganache, Miss Rusty Waters, and many other queens, and including our guest co-host today, Carti G. Go to DragFor.Fans/boobash to watch for free. And during today's show, I will show you and we will tell you how you can enter to win lots of free stuff for Halloween and drag. Fabulous gifts and prizes. Kurt, do you have a pun for us? Make it snappy.
Ew, let's hit it, mijas.
I do have a pun for you.
Okay, hurry.
Did you know I was once afraid of hurdles?
But you couldn't get over them?
But I got over it.
Oh my God, Kurt.
Bless your heart.
It's been 8 months since I've seen Kurt, and it has not been long enough. The show is presented to you by Straw Hut Media. You can watch and or listen to our every now over 230 episodes at ontherocksradioshow.com. Hello to our listeners around the nation on every major podcast platform and on the Facebook pages of GED Magazine and I Love Gay LGBT, and of course, our very own On the Rocks Radio Show Facebook. We are now streaming on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire TV on the free Out At TV app. Download it today. Follow us. Leave us a comment. Like us on Twitter and Instagram at On The Rocks On Air. Send me an email. Book me for a wedding, funeral, quinceañera, bris. I don't care. I will be there. Info at ontherocksradioshow.com. Send us your questions and comments and nudes. Okay, let me welcome our guest co-host today. When she's not pushing old people over, she's stealing candy from children. Putting the candy corn who knows where. Cardi G is Los Angeles' premier clown with a contour. Having performed in NYC, Atlanta, Las Vegas, San Francisco, Palm Springs, and several other cities, she performs even if they don't ask her to. She is a name and a force to be reckoned with, known for her quick wit and unique sense of humor. She's a perfect mix of Latinx heritage and comedy. Please welcome Cardi G.
Ew, what's poppin', mijas?
Ew.
How you doing, girl?
Oh, you look good. So I've seen you more out of drag than in drag, so it's so funny to see you in drag in person.
It's a special treat.
It is a treat. Girl, you look good either way.
Oh, thank you. Remind me what your Venmo is.
Yeah. Girl, cash only under the table. I don't Venmo that. But you know how some queens, they get out of drag and it's like, ooh, you look boo-boo.
You look like you hit a wall.
Or they're so handsome and then they put on a wig and an eyelash and it's like, girl.
That's the dude.
Yeah, it's like, oh God, Dolly called. Anyway, an article came out, I think it was BuzzFeed or something, and it said that you were the rumored queen to be part of the next season of RuPaul's Drag Race. And I'm like, that's not true because I just saw her selling fruit on Highway 111.
It wasn't fruit, it was water bottles. Get it right.
Boop! Recycle.
Okay, just like my boyfriend.
But was it weird to have that article come out?
It's been very interesting this summer. I was very busy. As you know, I host a weekly show called Adobo.
I love it.
And for a while, I had to take a little bit of a break, and I was gone with due diligences. And now she's back with a lace front.
Oh, I'm going to look up that public record. Oh, so that's what it was. But it must have been weird to be like, oh, I guess I'm in the drag race. And then did you get like a bunch of new followers because they thought that, oh.
Yeah, so my following nearly almost tripled. It has
Yeah.
almost tripled since then. It's been really unique throughout the whole process. Monique Hart, who is now my drag mother, has really like helped me grow and learn and go from a little Latin boy in drag to a full-fledged cross-dressing disappointment to my father.
Girl, that happened in kindergarten. Who are you fooling? Anyway, everybody's going to be at home for Halloween. They're going to be doing their looks, probably not going to be buying elaborate costumes or makeup. So what Halloween tips do you have for us on how to create a look from home? And you better listen because we're doing a giveaway with DragFor.Fans, and you're going to have to do that. Look at this side-by-side here.
Oh.
Look at that side-by-side. So how would I do that at home with everyday appliances?
Okay, so here we go. The real tea is make sure to secure and fasten those wigs. I am a daughter of Miss Monique Hart, so we know a thing or two about keeping those wigs in place, okay?
Yep.
Second of all,
Come on, wig.
practice makes perfect. It took a lot of times and a lot of practice to look this cheap. Third of all, if you got lipstick and you got trade over, make sure you bring it and reapply it. Otherwise, you just get a little faded.
I'm going to say there's a certain game called Ring Around the Rosie. Let's just say
I won that.
You are Rosie. Yes, it's like 6 feet away or 6 inches. I don't even know. But on that note, you are going to help me keep the party going today, and we're going to talk to Widow and Laganja about life after Drag Race and how we live drag in quarantine life, because there's a lot that's happened in the last few months.
That part.
So let's welcome our first guest. Laganja is actually in our green room. She's preparing, so I cannot wait for her outfit because I've heard that she's got Halloween looks. But let's welcome our first guest, the queen with so much personality, you need an apostrophe in her last name just to take a moment. Always forging her own path, the Thickums herself, Miss Widow Von D.
Bitch, she might be.
She is. Took the Missouri drag scene by storm 13 years ago, and since then has been blazing her own unique path ever since. And she just ain't in Kansas anymore, honeys. She is the self-described ratchet-ass queen with high-class fashion. And she made her presence known, of course, as we know, in the last season of RuPaul's Drag Race, and her engines are still revving. She's a glamazon beauty, a fierce lip syncer, and an accomplished singer, writer, and rapper. October 30th, you can see her in with her Drag Race alum on WoW Presents YouTube special, Bring Back My Ghouls. I actually do RuPaul's voiceover when, anyway. Okay, and her album, simply titled The, or is it They, or The? The or the. It comes out October 31st, an extravaganza event, by the way. And if you're at Hamburger Mary's in Kansas City, you're going to go. But you're going to download the album on October 31st.
Absolutely.
In her own words, relax your throat, bitches, because your gagging mother has arrived. Please welcome, live from Kansas City, the Widow Von D.
Woo woo!
Hey, girl.
Oh, yes.
She might be.
Okay, I love your outfit. I love the zipper on your chest because it's just easy access.
Of course, this is where I put all my cigarettes and my phone and my
Little
wallet
snack.
and condoms, and snacks.
Condoms? What's that? That's an artifact from the past. So, we got to chat a little bit before the show, and I love in all of your interviews, your Drag Race bonus videos, and social media, we hear and see this laugh that is so you. It's so infectious. Almost every line you speak, it's just, and your energy in your workroom entrance, your musical challenges, your death drops, there's just this positive energy. And we know it's this counterpoint to the story of your life beyond the makeup. You experienced loss growing up, being outed in high school, being homeless. How did you overcome all of that, and where did you draw this strength from? Because, a lot of us right now during COVID are not having a good time of it.
I mean, I definitely owe everything to being Widow Von Du. Like, Widow brought me out of being homeless. It changed my demographic towards me not being out. It has opened up so many doors, like being on Drag Race, and I would say getting the tour, but we can't do that shit right now. So, but Widow is the reason why I smile. It brings me out of everything that's bad in my life, and that's why I just laugh and smile at people. Because
well, and there's that laugh. Now, from being homeless to drag, we know drag is not it's not inexpensive, shall we say?
Oh.
Do you have any tips? Because I get these questions all the time, especially when we have famous drag queens like yourself, like Laganja. It's like, wow, these looks look rich, girl.
And
What-
I know Widow's designer. She is expensive, honey.
Ooh. Do you pay in like cigarettes and like good stories?
No, I pay in coin.
Yes, girl.
She
Pay your
has
help.
to drop some ducats.
Yeah.
Pay for what you want.
Thank
That
you.
part.
I hope
Basically it.
every gay person is listening to that because it's like it's for the exposure. Bitch, it's not for the exposure. Pay me.
That part.
No, bitch, I can't pay bills on exposure.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, and some people's exposure end them in jail. Hello.
Oh.
Oh.
I wear a lace front now. Please don't judge me.
But what tips do you have to just have a good drag look on a budget? Or like, what's some of the basics that you should spend money on? What can you fake?
You definitely should spend money on like makeup and hair, and like you don't need like the most like glamorous outfit to make shit work for you. Like for a long time, a bitch used to just wear like onesies and a cute jacket, different onesies and shit,
Yeah.
and made it going. And but if you get down Drag Race, you might want to spend the coin to look like,
Yeah.
look like money, bitch. You came all the way here. You might as well look like something.
Although it's funny, during All Stars, our good friend Mayhem Miller had some fan hate because she ordered an outfit off Amazon. Honey, if you have the personality, then you're gonna make it work. So there's that. Now I have to say, before Drag Race, you were the queen of Kansas City, and I have to tell you, I had no clue how vibrant the LGBT community was in Kansas City of all places. Now that you have everybody's ear, and I thought it was just cowboys and beer drinkers, which I'm totally fine with that. What would you love people to know the most about the LGBTQ community in Kansas City?
I would love for people to know that, well, there's no cows and cowboys in Kansas City. That's further south.
Oh.
Way down where Crystal lives in Springfield.
What's the address?
1, 2, 3, Milky Way.
Ooh, I've
Milky
ridden the
Way.
Milky Way.
But no, the drag scene here in Kansas City, I love it because it's just mixed up of so many different diversity, and like we have a lot of trans entertainers. We have basically a Benetton ad of different colors and races that you can see, and here, you can be anyone and do drag. We have bio queens, we have male entertainers, we have drag kings. We just have it all. Like you can't go anywhere and not see it all.
During this quarantine, I've had the opportunity to speak to a lot of the Rupaul girls from all around the nation because I don't have to be in LA, which has been such a benefit. And that's what I'm hearing about the drag environment, is that it's so diversified, from the drag kings to trans to whomever you want to be. And Cardi, we know here in LA, that's such a different environment. Why is there such a divide, and what is that difference?
I mean, I think from the LA scene, I moved here from Atlanta, so I was good and raised on Southern pageantry. But once you move out here, the dynamic's a little bit different. Dragula, which is based out of here, Los Angeles.
Yes.
So you've got your downtown queens, you got your West Hollywood queens,
Silver Lake queens.
Silver Lake, and then you got the girls on Instagram who slap a couple filters on there, maybe a couple more. That's a talent for some girls.
And then the Long Beach queens, it's like, I don't think there's enough filters in the world.
Girl, no, but a Long Beach queen will buck like that bitch. She moves like she got good health insurance. Okay.
They know I'm just teasing, but that is very true. That's very true.
I swear, Hamburger Mayor's hands out health insurance because those bitches move powerful.
It's like, oh, yeah, they're workers' comp. So we know that every queen has her story, and as we talked about, you came to the competition with some kind of emotional baggage, some stuff that you went through. What was the first week of filming the show like for you, having come so far from so far? All these other queens were worrying about being so funny and giving the best one-liners and getting the most camera time, and you were like, I'm here to represent my city. What was that first week of filming like to adjust to?
It's different for me because like I've been doing this going on 14 years now, and I do meet a lot of entertainers that just do this for likes and for Instagram. I don't do this for likes. I do this for a living, bitch. That's the difference. I do this because this pays my bills. It gives me a lifestyle. I don't do this so a bunch of people like my photo, which is great. I like that, but I want to work.
Well, and Widow, I think that's something that really speaks true to you because I've seen you now perform several times, and bitch, there is not a a person who is not glued to you when you are performing. And that's I think
very
that a big difference in the drag scene is you are either an entertainer or a performer. Are you just getting up and doing a little two-step, or can you truly entertain? And bitch, you have the house in the palm of your hands every time. Every time.
I mean, that's that part right there. Like, that's why I love entertaining, because I want all eyes on me. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie The Players Club.
Yeah.
There's a scene when Ronnie walks in. She's like, "All right, all you white motherfuckers, all eyes on me. If I catch you looking at anything else, I'll beat your ass." And I was like, I want that to be my life. I just want to walk in, all motherfucking eyes on me.
You know, it's funny because we have seen so many different kinds of levels of queens. Even queens coming off of RuPaul, we've seen them at Mickey's in West Hollywood that they usually show up. And there's a difference of gaining the respect from the audience because you are respecting the audience. Like you said, it's like you want all eyes on you, but you put on a good show. And there's such a difference of a queen that's like, okay, I'm here, bitches, respect me, bow down to me, and just expect that and don't want to put on a show. I've never understood that way of thinking.
You know, there's the girls that like, come on. I feel like as a fan and as a fellow drag queen, not a drag race sister yet. I feel like there's a lot of girls that come on and say, "Bitch, I got so many followers. Bitch, I came to this show with a blue check," and it's like, the fuck.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
like, but can you pot a beret? Show me a skill.
And a blue check does not mean you have talent. Okay, but we're going to speak about talent. Girl, we know you love to rap. What makes a good rap, and what comes first for you? Is it the beat or the lyric or the weed? Like what's happening with like a good, like what are the fundamentals of a good rap?
Well, for me, you know, I gotta get me a nice, good, you know, some green.
There we go. It's me, the green. Laganja's waiting. We're gonna talk all about green later.
Oh, I cannot wait to meet Laganja. Laganja, girl, I want to smoke with you. Just saying.
Oh, she'd be up for that too, I'm sure.
Yes, let's get high and do a song together. That's
ultimate
basically it.
hope.
Like, I get stoned and I just listen to beats, and it has to like grab me. Like, it has to make my ass want to get up and start twerking. Like, it has to hit me, and then all of a sudden I just be listening to it, and then I just be smoking more, real stoned and talking, and I'm like, "Oh, that's a cute line, bitch. Let's add to that." That's how my process is.
You gotta feel that wop. Gotta feel that widow ass pussy.
Yeah.
Girl, you better get those T-shirts made real fast. Can you give us a little rap like about your time on the show right now? Can you like freestyle a little bit?
Let's see. I mean, I kind of stayed sober. I didn't get high before this because I wasn't sure what we was gonna be talking about. So I didn't smoke
Oh, we talk about everything on the show.
She goes, "I don't know if I was doing my income taxes on here."
Did you? I don't know. You never know, girl. You never know. Let's see. Oh, you done put a bitch right on the spot.
Oh, that's what we love to do here.
What? All right, let's see. What can I do? Let's see. I'm trying to think. It's been a minute. I've been just working on my album coming out.
Oh, I can't wait.
Can I just give you something from my album?
Yes. Come on, preview.
Yes. Yeah, can we get a little preview?
All right, yes. Let's see. I'm trying to think of a good one because I don't want to give too much.
Yeah.
I want to make sure y'all buy it.
Give us a spice.
Oh shit! I don't know why I'm nervous. I don't know why I'm nervous, bitch. Let's see.
It's just us, girl, and the nation.
Queen me, bitch, like I took the crown. Me and my bitches, we run this town. I took my chance and I shut shit down. You should quench your thirst, bitch, but don't drown.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
There we go. We got some applause up in here. So let's talk about the album. Is it the or is it the? And why is it just the? Because now I have to. Did you get the album?
So it's called The, and it's kind of like my introduction. I'm trying to work on something where I give you 3 albums over the next, several months.
I love that.
The first one is The, and then you have Widow, and then you have Vondu. And it became The because the first day I walked on set, RuPaul was like, "It is The Widow Vondu," and I was like,
Yep.
That's what it is. That's my name now.
Y'all heard
Widow
it.
Vondu.
Well, and it's funny because you cannot say your name without saying the. Like you.
And it's all Ru.
Yeah.
It's all Ru's fault.
Thank you, Rupaul.
Now, what was your creative process for the album? When did you start writing it, and what do you want? What do you want your audience to get from it?
So I started writing the album maybe like right before I left to go to Drag Race. And I wrote some of it while I was there and a lot of it during quarantine. And I just want people to, you know, bop out to my shit. Like I don't write like, you know, drag music as people would categorize it. I write music.
Yeah.
So I write shit you can play in the clubs, you can dance and get drunk to.
Good, because that's what I plan to do. Because I know on October 31st, I'm going to be doing that by myself at home with my look tips that Cardi G gave me.
Absolutely. And Widow, now, your music is not just like you said, it's not just drag music. It's not over here with, like, girl, I just checked on my way here. Bitch, you got 131,000 views on Bitch You Might Be, which... That is my bop. I listen to that when I'm getting ready because I'm like, yes, I'm a fierce bitch. Yes, I know how to blend. Yes, this nose contour is actually going to turn right. Bitch, I love that song. It really is popping.
That is one of my favorites from the album because I didn't realize how many times I said, well, yes, bitch, I might be. and we were on the show and literally every girl just kept saying, yes, bitch, she might be. Yes, bitch, she might. I was like, we got a title, we got a song, bitch.
It's a bopping. And the music video is amazing too. I mean, you really gave us some like great concepts, some visuals, some great outfits. I mean, like you're not just a one-level queen. Bitch, you are a 3-layer dulce de leche cake. Like you bring it all the time. Oh, that just raised my blood sugar. That just raised my blood sugar.
I just got hungry. My stomach growled and everything.
Girl, I had to put pants on for the first time. It's like, oh, I guess I'm not going to eat for another year. But let's talk about this dichotomy. You know, we look at the followers that you have, and you came from Kansas City, and now you have all these social media followers. Like Cardi G said, you know, YouTube views and everything. But there's this dichotomy, and it does come out of a price. We know that there was a period of time when people were watching Drag Race, we talked to Laganja about this as well, that we never know how drag fans are going to respond. We never know what one-liners they're going to adhere to. We never know who they're going to rally for and against. And you came up with some pretty violent hate, so much so that you even said, you know what, I'm going to take some time away from this. So it's like, yes, you have this success and you have this platform now where people are listening to you and enjoying your music, but it comes at such an ugly cost. How do you play with that kind of dichotomy?
Ooh, 1 second.
Yeah, let's take a drink, girl. Just straight from the bottle.
That part.
Straight from the bottle, bitch.
Oh, she did it too.
Oh,
I can feel my chin hair growing back. Ooh, shit.
You better unzip that zipper, girl.
Oh, she's wearing sweatpants.
Girl, I'm barely breathing in mine.
the official clothing sponsor of quarantine.
Hanes,
Yes, I have
sweatpants.
18 pairs of sweatpants, bitch. But no, it took a lot to get used to. Like, I'm always an honest person when I talk about anything. And so I was like, my honesty on the show is going to seem, and it's going to look like an angry Black person because that's all anybody sees. And it was like, I'm just trying to be me. What's wrong with me just trying to be me? Like, I talk my shit. I say what I mean. I entertain. You know, that's what I do. And it's just such a stigma between girls of color and Caucasians. And it's just like,
Girl, preach.
the fuck? like I love the Vixen. She was like, I can sit here and talk my truth, but only thing they'll see is you crying. And that is kind of like just a mind fuck. Like,
well, and you know what I can't stand are these keyboard warriors that hide behind their keyboard and say whatever they want just to get comments on them. It's like, yeah, you would never say that to somebody in person because I would hope that you would have manners. We're just in such an ugly time right now. But speaking of something not ugly, a little surprise here. You said you wanted to meet Laganja. We brought her in from the green room a little bit early. Please welcome Laganja Estranja. Girl, she is painted! Yes!
You were ready for all that, were you, Miss Widow? Honey.
oh, bitch, you look so good.
Happy Halloween, bitch.
This is Halloween, Halloween. So, you missed it, Laganja. Widow said that she would love maybe to do a little collaboration because she loves her green. Look, she even put her green behind.
Yes, Miss Green.
Widow, what kind of song collaboration would that be? Because, I mean, we have the opposites right now. We have Widow and Laganja, right? You guys couldn't be more different, except you both bring it. Or not. You tell me.
I mean, we bring bops. Like, that's, I love Lagarja's music, and I can't tell you how many times I throw my ass in the air to legs. Like,
Yes.
I'll be laying on my back like legs overhead.
Hey. Oh, you're so sweet, sister.
But,
My
I
chiropractor
live,
asked that I don't
live.
listen to that anymore.
Your chiropractor asked you not to listen to that?
He was like, you can't do that. Calm down.
My 20 cat said you shouldn't be lifting your legs in bed. Yeah.
That was your mom.
Yeah. But, like, what would... you bitch. What kind of title of, like, a duet would we be looking at?
I want to write a song with Laganja, like, ass throwing around. Like, I want to write an ass shaking song.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, shake that
Like, I
green.
want splits all over the
Maybe
place.
it would be called Puff Puff Ass.
Oh!
One of you better call your lawyer and copyright that right
Right
now.
That was...
Because we know Gigi Good is somewhere like, oh, I'm going to write that down. I need a hit.
That has personality. Let me add that to my resume.
Oh.
The shade is real on tonight.
No, we
Damn.
joke, but we love all the queens. Mostly.
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. All right, Widow, we're going to play a little rapid fire with you. Are you ready?
No, but let's
What is a challenge that you would add to Drag Race to really show what a good queen should be able to do?
rapid fire. Damn it, I don't know. Hair designing. Like, let's do some more of that. Let's do some more
Okay.
hair designing.
Okay.
The bitches can't do their own hair.
Okay.
I just have to say, and we love RuPaul, but somebody said have RuPaul do her own makeup in 20 minutes. What is the shadiest thing you've seen backstage of Drag Race or any drag show that you've done?
Jackie Cox 5 o'clock shadow.
Oh, that is such a PC answer, girl. You are good. Somebody trained you on that one. Have you
I
hooked?
mean, y'all saw all the shade on our show.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we're going to talk about how real is that shade in our next segment. Have you hooked up with a fan?
Not yet.
Oh, all right.
At least not once since Drag Race.
Yeah. Well, that's nothing to apologize for.
Okay.
Okay. Who's a queen from season 12 you'd be okay with not sharing a dressing room anytime soon?
Rock Sakura.
Oh.
My
Because
goodness.
that bitch likes to fart too much.
Oh,
I
okay.
can't
That's
do
another
it.
PC answer. But okay.
She's from San Francisco. They believe in, like,
Smelling.
very that.
Hey, you gotta understand, we were actually the best friend season. We actually did like each other.
Yeah. Which queen would you replace in RuPaul's Drag Race Vega show?
Any of them so I can be on it. Hello.
I mean, quite honestly, I would replace all of them so I could be on.
Period.
It would just be called the Widow Von Du Vegas. That'd be a fun reality show. It'd be like, okay.
How many shots before you hit blackjack?
That would be it.
Girl.
Real fast, I want to talk about meeting, being starstruck. Once you're part of the Drag Race world, you're put in an arena with other superstars. I mean, you got to meet Nicki Minaj, Shaka Khan. Do you get starstruck at all? And when you're in the room with them for I'm sure you didn't get to hang out with them. How did you make an impression and share how much they meant to you in that little time?
It's basically the oh my God, I can't breathe face. And they kind of just look at you like, I'm gonna talk to you first. Cause that's what I do when I talk to fans. Like when they get so like out of breath, like breathe, bitch.
Yeah.
You can talk, breathe. And like I still get starstruck when I meet Drag Race queens. Like just seeing Laganja on the computer right here, I'm like, ah. Yeah.
Well, it's so interesting to see. And when we talked to Laganja for her segment, I rewatched parts of that season. And we're talking about season 6. We're talking about years and years ago. We're talking about a different network. Michelle looked different.
You were a size 28 waist.
F you, bitch. Santino was still a celebrity. Like, there was just a lot happening. But there was a different energy. It was such a different show, and I didn't realize how much the show has changed. And so when you look at some of the queens from the earlier seasons that really did have to work down and dirty and didn't have the best circumstances, didn't have stylists coming left and right, it was an entirely show. So you have a lot more respect. And all you drag queen fans that want to rip on any of our current seasons, you really need to
You give it a try.
Oh no, I'm exempt because I'll never be on the show. But like, look at some of the earlier seasons and see who paved the way for some of these queens, and these newer queens really emulate some of the positive energy and some of the positive things that they've learned. Because I know every queen that has come in the season has usually auditioned more than once. Except, but but there's a sense of, people do learn from these queens, and you're going to see elements from that. So don't be so quick to judge our queens. It's a lot of work. What do you want your fans, Widow, to know most of all?
I just want my fans to know that you are loved, and fuck what a hater gotta say. That's that's it. And also, my album comes out on the 31st.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, and tell us a little bit about Bring Back My Ghouls, which is on YouTube with Wow Presents. Was it weird seeing your girls all back together? Because you guys have been in quarantine, or should have been.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. But no, it's definitely great getting to see them all again. Like, we do have our little Zoom calls every now and then, but it's nice to get like the sort of work together.
Yeah.
I just can't wait for us to actually work together so we can build like a sisterhood and see if I actually do like these bitches like I say I do.
Hey, the biggest thing is having to travel with some of these girls on the road, and then having to share backstage at a
That
small
is what I'm waiting
club.
for.
A tour bus, girl.
That is what I'm waiting for, to see if I like these bitches or not.
Well, I love, like I said, Widow, I'm such a huge fan of yours because you just keep it real. I love your energy. I love your backstory. You've been through so much and you still remain positive, which I think we can all use a little of, especially during COVID, is let's just be nice to each other and let's take a breath. And times are going to get hard. That's just part of life.
You got to have some rain before you get the rainbow.
Oh, did you trademark that?
No, but I just did. My lawyers are on speed dial right now.
That's gonna be Skittles' new campaign, like a giraffe farting, and then this slogan's gonna be. Widow, tell our audience where you want them to find and follow you.
You can find me on all social media platforms at the Widow Von Do, and that includes PayPal and Venmo.
Yes.
Yes. PayPal for all you international hoes.
Yeah.
We accept euros, yens, and all of the above.
And October 31st, we're all downloading the first part of a 3-part series, The Widow Von Do. Girl, you have fun in Kansas City. Like I said, we have mutual friends there that report to me your actions, so be careful, girl.
Have fun.
And they reported it. You must get some good stories.
Yes, I do.
Oh, definitely.
All right, say goodbye to Laganja.
Bye, sister.
Bye,
Good to see you. Stay smoking and stay smiling.
Yes.
Yes, I'm gonna go smoke one right now.
Love you, sis.
Girl. Bye, Widow.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.
And if you are in Kansas City, you're going to want to go to Hamburger Mary's there for the release party of The. You better do all that. We're going to take a quick break. Let's take a break right now. And we're back. So we're going to do a little PSA before we bring on Laganja, and the rest of the show is all Laganja. Here's a PSA on how you can win some free drag material, whether you're a queen or not. Kurt, take it away. Hello, ghouls and boys and everything in between. This Hallowqueen, we're all stuck at home, all dressed up and nowhere to trick or treat, right? No. This year, On the Rocks with Alexander, that's me, will host the DragFor.Fans Boo Bash, a virtual Halloween party for free, with some of your favorite names from the drag world, including Honey Davenport, Monique Hart, Sonique, Silky Nutmeg Ganache, my co-host Rusty Waters, and Miss Cardi G, who just happens to be right here. Hey, girl.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good. How come my voice has to talk high when I'm talking to you?
Baby girl, this is my natural voice.
Oh, please. I've seen you order Del Taco. Can I have the number 5 Supreme, please? Anyway, okay. Do you have tips on how to get your Hallowqueen look together at home? Because, we got this contest going.
True. And we want everyone to stay safe, have practice social distancing, make sure you practice your drag. It's good drag never happened once, okay?
Okay.
Second tip, Bobby Pin Your Wig. We don't want wigs flying, okay? This is a wig safe zone. Please keep your wigs on you at all times. And lipstick. If you're going to have trade, make sure you bring the lipstick for afterwards.
Okay, and we've seen your lipstick rings around this community. 6 feet apart or 6 inches apart. Anyway, you can enter the Drag for Fans Halloween looks contest by posting your looks on Instagram with the hashtag DFFBooBash and mention @DragForFans. And winners will be announced on the show and will receive a new wig, come on wig, from Essence Wig, nails from Detox Nails, and a grab bag of fun and glitter. Tune in to the Boo Bash on Thursday, October 29th at 5 p.m. Pacific Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time at DragForFans/Boo Bash. And get ready to party. All the ghoul kids are doing it. Get it? Hey, Cardi.
Hey.
I can't wait to see your boobies. Boo. Happy Halloween! So I am so excited to welcome our next guest, Laganja Estranja, a.k.a. I have a formal yes, let's do the applause. That's a good rebel rouser. Jay Jackson's, a.k.a. Laganja Estranja, our favorite strange plant, world-renowned female illusionist, choreographer, music artist, cannabis activist, and LGBTQ icon. And can actually use the word icon, by the way. Death drop. U.S. presidential scholar in the arts, earned a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree in dance and choreography from the California Institute of the Arts, and launched to stardom after being selected to compete on Logo TV's Season 6 of RuPaul's Drag Race. Today, Jackson's television and film credits include Heidi Klum's Queen of Drag, So You Think You Can Dance, Latin American Music Awards, Germany's Next Top Model, America's Got Talent, Skin Wars, MTV's Video Music Awards, American Music Awards, and the list goes on and on and on. Laganja was also featured on the cover of New York Magazine's June issue, The Most Powerful Drag Queens in America. Bloop. Laganja has also been featured in High Times magazine as well as Dope magazine, making her the first LGBTQ entertainer to appear on the cover of a cannabis magazine. We're going to talk about why that is so important. Jackson regularly performs at festivals and events across the world, of course, pre-COVID. Jackson has performed in 14 countries, spanning 5 continents, and has walked the runways of the Melange Brazil fashion show in Rio de Janeiro. God, I wish I could have been backstage at that. And Marco in LA and New York. And Jackson's choreography credits include a range of commercial artists and companies, including NYC Cosmetics Face Awards, rapper Brooke Candy, and of course we know superstar Miley Cyrus. And Jackson also founded Laganja's Dance School, an international high heels masterclass and confidence workshop held in dozens of cities across Europe, Central America, South America, and the U.S. We also know that she is very well known for her iconic dance move, the Death Drop. Please formally welcome Laganja Estranja.
Yes, God, honey. Who's ready to turn it up, honey?
Hi.
Okay, I want to talk. You went to Booker T. Washington High School for the Performing Arts and Visual Arts in Dallas, Texas. Most people, myself included, would assume that growing up in Texas would be so conservative, very limiting, and yet you went to this great performing arts school. What was the dichotomy of living in this conservative Texas, but also enjoying the benefit of being part of this vibrant school?
Well, it was a dichotomy, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it was. You know, it was going to school and fulfilling all of my fantasies and then taking it all off and going home and making sure I was safe. So, you know, it was definitely difficult, but I do feel that because I grew up in Dallas, which is pretty much a blue state, that I didn't have it as hard as many queer people do growing up.
I want to know what high school was like for you, because I can't imagine you as a high school student. Is that where the elements of Laganja started from? Did you start to kind of feel like who you are now? Did that start to form in high school?
Well, I hate to break your bubble. I literally came out of the womb being this extra.
The doctor was like, it's an extra.
Mama, there was glitter confettis. I mean,
The water broke and it was just glitter.
Yes, exactly. So I think I've always been eccentric. I've always expressed myself through art.
Yeah.
And I was very lucky to have parents who encouraged this, who put me into musical theater schools, who, you know, paid thousands of dollars so that I could go to musical theater camp during the summer, be trained by people who had worked with Bob Fosse. You know, I'm speaking of the Broadway Theater Project, but I really was lucky to have a nourishment from my parents. And so that's why, even though I grew up in a conservative small town, it didn't necessarily feel like that always, because my parents knew how to put me in the perfect bubble so that I would be able to be my best self.
Well, and that's so important. And, you know, I came from a strong family home as well with my mom. And that's a special gift, because that's not in every household. But I really think that musical theater is such a great start, especially for a choreographer, a female illusionist, because not only do you work your voice, your acting, and your presentation, you have to know like how big the house is. You learn how to be a professional, doing 8 shows a week, running those rehearsals, running those tech rehearsals, making mistakes, sleeping with co-stars during the show, understage. I mean, but you really kind of learn those skills, and I think that really gives performers a leg up in the professional world, especially like on Drag Race.
Yeah, I couldn't be more grateful that I grew up in musical theater because I really feel it's the culmination of all the arts out there. As you said, singing, dancing, acting, makeup, wig, set design, lighting design, all of those things I learned at a young age. And so specifically when we hit quarantine, you know, I was lucky that I had all of this in my wheelhouse and that I had things to fall back on besides just being a tongue-popping and dipping queen, which I do want to just go ahead and point out. We don't use the word death drop anymore.
Oh, I did not know.
It is
Get with
now
the times, girl.
officially
Get with the
known
times.
as, and it's always been known as, actually, the dip. I received this information, you know, several years after, you know, graduating from RuPaul's Drag Race from the Ball and Vogue community. And so I've made it a big issue of mine to, you know, just try to correct people in slow and due time because, you know, everyone does know the death drop. That's what I was taught.
Yep.
But unfortunately, that was watered down teaching. And so I feel like as a queer person, especially as a white person who's doing other people's moves, it's really important that we acknowledge this move is called the dip.
Okay, I just enjoyed this moment so much. You know, in the LGBT community, we assume people know stuff, and we have to continually educate each other in a kind, nice way.
Yes.
We're so angry with everybody else outside of our community, but we're also angry with people inside of our community.
And trust me, I received this information in a very angry way. So it was very difficult to navigate through. But what I had to understand is I'm not black.
Yeah.
I didn't grow up in an underground culture. I didn't get, you know, subsidized year after year after year. And then finally, when given a height, still being put to the side. You know, I'm talking now about Pose and Ryan Murphy, which I think is amazing. We've done so much incredible work with that show, but there is still a lot of ground left to be, you know, given to the individuals who actually worked in the field, which, not to go off topic, but again, this kind of reminds me of cannabis. You know, cannabis has built on the backs of my brown and black brothers and sisters. And yet, as a white person, I'm out here legally promoting it and smoking it and getting it delivered to my house like it's pizza. So as someone with privilege, as someone with white privilege, yes, you are correct. We have got to keep educating. We have got to keep saying this until we're blue in the face, because at the end of the day, no matter how much tired or how exhausted I may get from repeating this material, there are people of color who have done this their whole life for generations and generations.
Absolutely.
That's a clip right there, girl.
Very that. And Ganja, I want to congratulate you because, let me make sure I get my numbers right. Yeah, so your music video, Look at Me, featuring Jay Tyler, just broke 500,000, which is incredible.
Look at me.
I mean, let's be real. For a Drag Race girl, it's not that incredible. If we look at Alaska, if we look at Trixie, these girls are rolling in millions of views. But you know what? Everyone's journey is different. And as someone who compares myself to other artists all the time, I've had to learn that my journey is just that. It's my journey.
But you know what? I think that's what's really remarkable is, one, I think that because you are such an incredible character and you have such passion with every breath and step you take.
Who, me, a character? No.
Never. Never.
But there's the passion coupled with that education that
For
we were
sure.
talking
And
about.
that was part of Look at Me. There was an educational perspective. And I think that really gave people a second dynamic to go, oh, well, maybe Laganja's not just...
Right.
And there's a lot more to you.
Right.
And I think that personally, I know that I've gotten to really develop I feel like a relationship, seeing how much of an activist and how outspoken you are for so many things. And as a person of color, it is very warming to see someone who has privilege and power and influence to use that in such a positive and warm way.
Yeah, I want people to understand what's actually going on in this world. So, you know, I could have easily made a drag video for Look at Me, but I wanted to take a second to acknowledge the fact that I am a cannabis activist, and with that comes responsibility. So I used the music video to talk about racial profiling, to talk about the disproportional arrests that have been made against people of color for cannabis. And, you know, at the end of the music video, we see the statistics. Girl, y'all fed me this equality vodka. Now y'all want me to speak with poise. But, you know, so that you can see the statistics and really understand that this is still a current problem. This is not something that I'm just touching on. No, this is something that we still need to deal with.
Correct.
And there's also the issue also of the LGBT community in the cannabis community as well. There's some danger there. There's some violence there. And so you're also speaking to that as well. Where does the root of homophobia in the cannabis industry come from? What is the root, if you could pinpoint that?
You know, I wish I could pinpoint that, because I think if I could, then maybe I could do something about it. You know, for me, when I was introduced to cannabis when I was 18 years old in Dallas.
I was gonna ask, how old were you when you first smoked weed?
18 years old.
Do you remember
I was
where you
legal.
were?
Of course I do. I was in high school. I was working on my Presidential Scholar of the Arts choreography piece, which I ended up winning.
And it went to Kennedy Center,
That's
correct?
right, the Kennedy
Center, y'all.
I performed in front of the president at the time, which unfortunately was George Bush. But still, I was in front of the president.
He came around, didn't he? He came around.
You know what? I honestly, I've got to say, especially during this time,
Yes.
I am very, I don't want to say proud, but I want to say pleased.
Because it's not about
his-
politics right now. It's about
Correct.
being a human being.
Yeah,
Really?
I mean, he dumped Trump. So any Republican who's going to dump Trump, I'm like, okay, you got my support. But no, so my friend Lauren Glenn, she was like, hey, let's go get medicated after school. We're going to drive off school property, because we were very much, 4.0 students. We did not get in trouble.
What was the school mascot?
We didn't have a mascot. It was an art school. So the mascot was the theater masks, maybe, if anything.
That's funny.
Yeah,
Okay.
Booker T. Washington. It's known for Erykah Badu,
Yeah.
Roy Hargrove,
It's very well known.
Nora Jones. So I'm hoping one day to be added to that list.
Girl, you are on that list.
I would say
Yeah.
Wow.
you got to be up there on the list.
I haven't seen myself on any of their PR recently, so I'm still waiting, Booker T. What's the T?
Let's call
Girl.
Kurt. Get him on the line. But like I said, there is some violence towards the LGBT
There
community,
is.
and we know a huge part of the LGBT community takes part of the cannabis revolution for so many different reasons, especially right now for anxiety through the COVID, or just to relax and have a good time.
PTSD.
Yeah.
And, not only do we take part in it, but here specifically in California, Proposition 215, which is also known as the Compassionate Act, which allowed us to legally medicate through cannabis up until about 2000, and I believe we went recreational in 18. Don't quote me, but I believe up until about 2018, this was an act that was fought for by the queer community so that their queer brothers and sisters could receive medicine for HIV and AIDS. So the fact that we have homophobia in an industry that was made legal by our brothers and sisters, it blows my mind. And the only thing that I can truly pinpoint is that specifically when we went recreational, it allowed big businesses with lots of money to buy into the industry. And so what happened is our message and our point and the whole idea of destigmatizing cannabis usage got watered down, because now we had big companies moving in who wanted to move product, and they wanted to move it fast. So it wasn't about the best quality. It wasn't about education. It was about numbers, money, the hype of the store, how well it looks. Do we have iPads in the new dispensary? And so we missed this whole teaching lesson. And I think that's really the big issue here, is that the people in power do not care about teaching. They care about making money.
For sure. If once the dispensary started looking like Apple stores, there needed to be some kind of conversation going, and it wasn't, well, do you want to add another pre-roll?
Right, exactly. And it wasn't, okay, well, before we build this dispensary, let's make sure that Black and brown brothers and sisters are being freed from jail before I make this business that's now fully legal.
And there was
when
no
I say
money
fully
coming back
legal,
into
it's
the
We
not.
know it's
Yeah.
Nothing is still fully legal. We have not been federally recognized, which is, again, why I'm so excited for Biden and Harris, because this is the first time on a presidential campaign that we have seen cannabis be on the ticket. Now, they're not going as far as I would like, but to start with the decriminalization
steps,
of
yep.
cannabis is
a
huge.
step forward.
It's
Step
huge.
forward, yeah.
So I just have to ask you, I have dated a number of people that love weed. It doesn't
What's
work.
it like to date?
That is one of the
Can't
questions that I got from some fans, by the
I'm sure
way.
it is, Gorge.
But I have known many people that are not productive, that smoke pot all day, every day, that I think it's almost an addiction.
Yes.
Maybe it's more of like the actual act rather than the actual cannabis. So my question to you is, you are one of the hardest workers I know. You have hustled. When you look, it's almost your 10-year anniversary, by the way, from starting at Mickey's, because you started in
Wow.
2011? November 2011.
I graduated college from 2011.
At Little Mickey's in West Hollywood. So-
Wow, friend, that's a trip down memory lane.
So you're going to celebrate 10 years, but when you look at the resume that I read, and we're going to really get into it. I mean, that's 10 years for somebody young, for somebody that was on Drag Race, but kind of had to take a few steps back because it was not the best experience. And you have accomplished all this while you have been smoking as much as you do and as you share.
Mama, I've been Snoop Dogg high. Okay, let's keep it real. I have been high.
But you can't 5, 6, 7, 8, boom, boom, boom. You can't do that. So my thing is, how do you make your relationship with pot smoking so successful and still able to achieve these daily challenges that you have?
It's very simple, because I need it, because it's my medication.
Okay.
At the end of the day, you know, people take Prozac to get through their day. My mom and father have been, you know, huge advocates of psychoanalysis and using drugs in that way. And I discovered for myself that it was more natural for me. I didn't need Ambien to go to sleep. I didn't need Klonopin to de-stress. I needed one plant that came from this earth that was put here by, in my opinion, God, and that's GAWD. And
God.
Yes,
Oh,
God, honey.
Oh, God. Give me some of that.
And so for me, you know, it really does. It allows me to be the active, analyzer, hyper professional, perfectionist person that I am. In fact, if I wasn't able to use cannabis, I don't think I'd really be a sane person. There's a lot of energy going on inside of this body, and the cannabis really helps align that and place that in a way so that I'm able to use it to its best ability, as opposed to have it use me.
I wish MGM Studios would have used that on their early Hollywood starlets. Rather, like, can you imagine Judy Garland would have been killing it even to this day if she was?
Oh, she would have
If
been.
she was on cannabis rather than everything else she was on.
Girl.
Well, you know, cannabis is an interesting, drug, because it actually is used a lot in harm reduction. As someone who went through AA for drinking, I was 3 years sober. I had a huge problem with alcohol.
And you're very open about it, which I love to hear the
Yes.
story, because there's times where you do drink and there's times that you don't drink, but you share that journey, which I think is so important, because you don't have to be, in my opinion, either one way, and you don't have to beat yourself up if you slip a little bit, or if you can work it into your life. It's a continual journey.
100%. And, you know, I would not sit here today and drink this Equity vodka.
She's so good. She's so good.
If I wasn't at a point in my life where I trusted myself. And, you know, for many years I did not. And I did abuse alcohol. And that is why I went sober for 3 years. That is why I found myself and I found my professionalism. And I realized, to me, at the end of the day, when I close my eyes, the one thing that I hold myself to is that I am a true professional. No matter who has worked with me, they may have choice opinions, but they will say I'm a professional. I show up on time, my things are in, and alcohol, unfortunately, started to affect that. And that's what really got me to realize, okay, this was a problem. And the way I got through those 3 years was cannabis. Cannabis is huge in harm reduction.
Yeah.
And I wish people would begin to talk about that more, because there are plenty of facilities out here. Shout out to my friend Alexis Haynes, who you may remember from Pretty Wild, an incredible show on E! Network many years ago. She started a facility where they use cannabis as harm reduction. And I just think... yeah, cannabis can be used in so many different ways, especially now that we've broken into CBD. We're talking about the ways that it can be used where there's no psychoactive effects, but we're putting it on our body on a topical to, you know, relieve ailments. As someone who dips nightly, I use that all the time.
And cancer too. It's been huge in the cancer
epilepsy,
industry.
And not just for people, for pets.
Yeah.
A friend of mine, he started a
Blue Treats?
Blue's Treats.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Blue's
it's a
Treats.
CBD for pets, and it is remarkable. He has a 1-year-old lab puppy, Cooper. Shout out to Cooper, who's probably chewing on my shoes right now. But
I think you said you were about to say something else. Did you hear that?
I did.
Chewing on my
Chewing on my dildo. I think that's what I heard too.
you know, quarantine. I'm trying to practice safe sex.
Okay.
Solo sex.
That's good.
Okay,
But hey, if quarantine will help you do that, I wish it would help me.
but CBD, and there's just so many options. I mean, like I recently moved. I say recently, a little over 2 years. Moved from Atlanta, where marijuana is still criminal, honey. It's like wearing white after Labor Day.
Yes.
Terrible. And then you move out here, and it's just such an opportunity. Girl, I walk into any little dispensary, and I'm like, I don't want to go down. I want to go up, but I don't want to this. I want that. So, question for you: What would you recommend as, like, for someone who's maybe just starting out into getting into cannabis?
I tried it. I mean, I had my high school and college years, but like recently, it just doesn't mix.
When
well with
stuff's
me at all.
changed too.
Well,
There's
that's
so
what
many
I was
more
going to say. And, you know, unfortunately for users who are not used to using cannabis, California is strong, mama. Our medicine out here is, you know, high grade, grown indoor, under special lights, you know, so you're going to get a lot higher quality out here in California as opposed to, let's say, Texas, where I grew up. and was smoking, weed that most likely came across the Mexican border, came in a brick with seeds, sometimes little roaches. And by roaches, I don't mean the bug. I mean half of a blunt, because obviously the drug dealer had smoked half the blunt and thrown it into the pile. Whereas out here, you're getting medically tested. So it is going to be a little bit harder, I would say, to jump in. What I truly recommend for people who want to start cannabis is obviously starting small. So if you want to consume an edible, starting at 5 milligrams. If you want to smoke a joint, starting at 2 hits. There's no need to over-medicate, especially when you're first trying it out, because that's the ultimate way for people to be turned off to this plant. Yes, it's because you get over-medicated too quick, and then it isn't fun for you anymore.
So I love a cookie. I mean, I'm the cookie monster.
Okay.
I mean, it could be the worst cookie ever, and I'll still eat the whole thing.
Same, honestly.
So my friend made edible cookies, and I was like,
yeah, already
well, if
see
it's in
that's
a
a
cookie,
no.
it can't
Nope.
be. I had
Your
to-
friend made. I'm already like, no.
Let me just say, the police had to be called because I freaked out to such a level, and I was vomiting. I was
Did you
seeing
eat the whole
things.
cookie?
Girl, I had 6 cookies.
Oh, no.
And then I thought I was gonna die.
See, and that's the thing, people...
And I acted a fool.
That's not what your mom said when she
No.
said, "Don't be a quitter."
No, and that's the thing. People, when they meet me, they say a lot of the times, "Oh, I want to get high with you for my very first time," and I always refuse because your first
it's like
time.
take my virginity. It's like,
I wouldn't refuse that. It's okay.
Yeah, but then they're gonna call you after.
You gotta hand them
Who
the
needs all
instruction
that?
manual.
Well, no, it's just because I feel like a lot of times people feel pressured around me to overconsume, and that's a huge problem. I don't
be
even
like a cool
promote
kid?
that. Right? And I
Yeah,
don't even.
I'm
Promote.
with Laganja. I mean, it's in your name.
I don't even promote that. There are people who go on Instagram and they take, gram dabs to show off. I don't do that kind of stuff because it is my medicine. So
Now dabs are wild. I
that's
did
what
that
I
for
do.
Isn't this
Girl,
the
I did that for the
That's
yeah.
right. That's the dance move.
You know what's so funny though is your outfits on Drag Race were restricted because they showed pot. You were able to get it through in your speech, but a lot of imagery was not allowed to be used. And it's like we know a lot of queens out there, and I don't mean just a drag queen. I mean there are a lot of people in the LGBT community that are abusing so many forms of drugs that are so harmful to you. It's like why not let somebody speak about their journey and. I mean, a good drug.
I mean, if we're going to share needles, I think we can Laganja Estranja. Oh,
At least.
Okay, let's talk about California Institute of the Arts because going from Dallas, even from Booker T. Washington, going from Texas to California, and then with all of these hippy-dippy kids in California Institute of the Arts, what were your best classes? What were your worst classes?
Okay, my favorite class was called the Hypersexualization of the Black Female Body. And this is where we studied Sarah Hottentot Venus, who was the first African-American female to be put on display and traveled around the world to be basically looked at as a freak. And we worked all our way down to Missy Elliott's Super Duper Fly, which is what I ended up writing my thesis for that class on. And so that was definitely my favorite class. Yeah. We had some incredible, readings, and the teacher was very fierce. I think I was probably one of 3 white people in that class. So needless to say, I was looked at with a critical eye, but I'm very glad about that because as someone who now makes rap music and who also, works in the Vogue and ballroom community, I'm so glad that I learned about how the black female body has truly been hypersexualized and how it's my job as a white person to not only not do that, but to then take my inspiration from the community and have it be just that. Appreciation and not appropriation. And I think had I not taken a course like that in college, I wouldn't really have the language or the way to kind of work through that.
Now the College of Estranja, by the way? Like, I want a degree from that college.
It would be fierce. You would be working like 7 hours a day, and you would I would be a very hard teacher because that's just the way I am. Yeah. Now, my least favorite class in college, I know this is going to sound cheesy to say, but I really don't have one. When I look back on my college experiences, sure, there were things I'd like to change. Sure, there were maybe teachers that I didn't love, but overall,
I think that's part of the process, though, is we need to have those teachers that we don't like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course. Agreed.
Yeah, could you imagine going through life or through anything and being like loving everyone?
No, you think I like every queen I work with? Absolutely
Girl,
not.
We got Alex here.
Oh, damn.
Number 1, I'm Alexander. Number
They
2,
are so
I'm not even
shady.
gay.
So no, I really do. I feel so grateful that I got to receive an education that truly enticed me and made me excited to go to school. Now, granted, I got high as hell through college, but I still was actively participating in class.
Like I said, you made it successful. My worst class was improv. I hated it, and I fought against it. It's like I didn't want any part of it.
Okay. But look at you now. You're Mr. Improver.
No.
This is what we're doing. We're improving.
I'm psychic, and I've written everything you said, and there's no scripts here.
Well, I love to be rehearsed too, Mama. So trust me. People.
That's our musical theater. It's like I'd rather do it 10 times more and be tired than be under-rehearsed.
Oh, 100%.
The biggest fear is to be like an understudy. We all have those actor nightmares that we're an understudy. We talked to Eric Altimus 3 weeks ago. He was the understudy for the revival of Pippin, and he had to go on. And it was like, no rehearsal, and you're in this huge Broadway show.
Yeah.
So like we said, your drag debut was 10 years ago. Looking back at this wealth of gigs that you've had.
And by wealth, we mean spiritually.
Yeah. What is your biggest achievement, your most proud achievement for yourself? Not like the biggest credit, but like a challenge that you overcame that is your proudest achievement. And what's the biggest thing that you regret?
Gosh, my biggest achievement is the fact that I am still going all these years later. You know, as you said, it's not about the credit. It's not about those big moments that I do get. Although, if I had to pick one of the biggest moments I've had, I would pick anything with Heidi Klum. She's truly been the only celebrity. So let me make sure you understand that, because I'm sure you heard the list of celebrities
we have a picture of you and
I
Heidi,
worked
by the way.
with. Well, she's the only one to this day to really, truly believe in me and
She's
support
so
me.
supportive.
That's amazing.
There you are. I mean, come
Yeah.
on, look at this.
I love her. I
Come on,
couldn't say
Mugs.
enough about her. So obviously being with her and getting to know her has been truly one of the highlights. But I really believe the biggest highlight is the fact that tomorrow I will wake up and I will continue doing what I do every day, and that's working my ass off.
I love that.
That deserves an applaud in itself.
Oh, yes. Applaudance. Don't we have one of those sound effects?
There we go.
Oh, I
Come on.
love
Come
that.
on, Kurt just got excited because we talked about a straight woman. Heidi
Okay.
Klum, he's like, I know who that is.
Okay,
Me,
good.
I'll
a
literally
straight
say,
woman.
oh, you worked with Julie Andrews, and he'll pull up a picture of like Carol Burnett. He has no
Oh,
clue.
bless. And
Okay.
then to answer your other thing, the
Yeah.
worst regret I have, I don't believe in regret, because I believe if you can learn from your mistakes, there's nothing to regret. You learn something.
Some of us don't
Period.
learn from our mistakes.
But if I had to have one thing that I would do differently, it would be...
That's a better way to put it.
Yeah, one thing to do differently, it would be to not abuse alcohol. You know, that was a very dark time, and I really went down a rabbit hole. So if I could go back and do it again, I would tell myself to quit that.
So we talked about Death Drop is dip. So
That's
I
right.
will only refer to it as a dip. In
That's
fact,
right.
I'm going to clip that and put that out there.
I
by
love
the
it.
way. My biggest complaint during the lip sync challenge of Drag Race is that they suck at the whole lip sync, and then they do a dip, and then it's like, number one, the judges always act surprised. It's like, hello, they've done it 3 times during this lip sync, and we always cut to them surprised. Do you think it's become overused, and do you think it's a fake out to being able to do a really good lip sync? I think it should be nixed from the challenge because we've seen it. I think it should be taken out and be like, no, you do the lip sync without a dip.
Well, I think if you're going to do it, you better be as good as me. So I would
that's
say,
like saying if you're going to sing a Judy
it's
Garland song,
outplayed.
you have to sound like Judy Garland.
Well,
It's just not gonna happen.
absolutely. I'm just saying, when the show has seen a caliber of a certain type of move, if you're going to do that move, then you should be of that caliber.
True.
So I would say 9 times out of 10, I agree with you. When I see people do it, it's messy, it's sloppy, it's not entertaining.
But it always gets them
Well,
the
honey,
vote.
imagine you're a judge. They're asking you for your reaction. Of course they're going to give you that. That's their job. Everyone's doing their job at that point, you know?
And I mean, it's
So-
not like a dip is the only move out there. You know, you've got plenty of other stunts and
But
shenanigans.
some of
you
the
can
queens
do.
during the finale, during their lip sync off,
It's their go-to move.
they do this and they're like, oh,
For
the song's
sure.
ending. Let me do that so that they can get the camera shot. I mean,
But that's it. That we're making
That's what I'm
TV
saying.
here.
True,
So
true.
at the end of the day, the artist is doing what they know the cameras are want. The judges are doing what they know the cameras are wanting. So, you know, it's kind of hard to, where do we base that? I think that comes off of the audience reaction. You know,
Yeah.
at this point, RuPaul's Drag Race has become a show to please the crowd. You know, when you were talking
For
about the differences from beginning seasons to other seasons, I'm like, well, I
Girl.
agree, because, you know, in the original seasons, it was more about telling these gay people's stories
Yes.
and how gay people could, you know, be inspirations. Whereas now, you know, it's all the tongue pops and the dips and the drama, and so we've kind of watered it down, in my opinion, a little bit.
one of the questions I have is, do you think shows like Drag Race make drag too commercial and overexposed?
No. No, I don't. I disagree with all of that. And when RuPaul keeps saying we're underground, no, we're not, Mary. We're on HBO. We are in commercials. We are, we are topping the charts on iTunes. So no, the fact that we have gone more mainstream because of RuPaul's Drag Race is an incredible gift. And anybody who says differently is being a naysayer. I truly believe that. I'm sorry, but when I go to these small towns in Peru and see people gather over one show and feel safe in an environment because of this one show, I think that outweighs any other negative thing that some little gay wants to bring up on Saturday at the bar.
For sure. And just because you want to pay $15 for a cocktail does not mean that is the same experience for someone in like you said, in Peru and Colombia. Like I'm from Bogota, and drag queens, and you've been to Bogota. You were the very first one. You sure were. And drag queen. I mean, like there is, besides the tongue pop and the this and the that and there's such a magic in seeing someone who is not just proudly being gay, proudly being trans, proudly being an artist, but succeeding in it. And there's just like, girl, I grew up in the ghetto, the slums of Bogota. So for me to see, like, I remember seeing RuPaul at an early age, and I was like, I didn't even know that I was gay, but it felt right, and it clicked, and it was so magical to see someone being happy and thriving in that, and now to doing it myself and disappointing my father on my own. I'm happy.
The only counterpoint I have to say to that is, like, we have Jay Rodriguez is on the new HBO Max show Equal, and he's playing Jose Sarias, who was a drag queen before it was. I mean, he was literally wearing clothes that he made himself, and he was singing himself, and it was more the idea of female impersonation, where it was about being able to be comedic and host a room, whether you're in some underground place or you're doing a thing. It wasn't just about the outfits, and it wasn't just about lip syncing. It was actually having to perform yourself. That's the only counterpoint that I say.
But you know what? Drag has evolved so much. Drag, it used to be like, I remember back in the Atlanta days, they'd be like, "Oh, you're not a drag queen, you're a female illusionist." And drag has evolved so much. I mean, Laganja, I'm sure
But they are two different things, right?
They are, and
For
that's
sure.
why I consider myself a female illusionist. Because
Correct.
I am not no ugly clown, Bianca Del Rio.
Oh, well.
Oh,
The
she's
girls
getting
are
spicy.
fighting. The girls are fighting.
The equality vodka's kicking in, Gorge.
She better.
But here's the thing: what I love about Bianca is that she truly can command a room. She's comedic.
I mean, she's legendary, Ma.
Well, and she doesn't look. She's not like a gorgeous queen.
No, and that worked for her, because if you really look at the ones who are truly successful, not saying they're not all gorgeous, but Alaska, Bianca, Trixie, Katya, Alyssa, they all have a stamp. They all have one look. They all have one thing that you're really able to codify and understand with that queen. And quite honestly, I think that's really smart. I wish that I had thought about that sooner and just always pinned myself as the green pot queen and with always the wig and kept it very simple. But unfortunately, I'm an artist and I can't do that. I get bored with that. So I need to be able to change.
Which is funny because that reflects your whole career. You're not just like, oh, I just do reality shows. You do so much. And so I want to talk about your creative approach. And I got this actually from a choreographer who's starting to work with some big names, is what is your creative approach to working choreography with a big star, such as your process with Miley Cyrus for such a high-profile gig? You want to represent the artist style and ability, by the way, but also what's popular, but your own artistic flair. So how does one incorporate all that?
Well, I have a better and more recent example. Not to say that I don't love Miley Cyrus. Shout out to her. Thanks for giving me my little props on the Joe Rogan show. But I'd rather talk about someone I just worked with, which is Katya.
Yeah.
So, I was working with a drag queen who definitely has gymnastic ability, who is able to move, but she's not necessarily a dancer. So what I do as a choreographer first and foremost is go in and see what they're comfortable with. What is their vocabulary? What is naturally coming out of their body? And then how can I as a choreographer elevate that? So I take a lot of their comfortable moves, but then make them more today by adding the TikTok isms, by adding, the things that I'm known for, like the pussy slap or the dip. And I think as a choreographer, what I really find interesting is being able to work with people of different talents. You know, my school, Laganja's dance school that you mentioned, most of the participants who come to that have never taken a dance class in their life.
Girl, I took that
it.
class. I took that class.
Tell me
Where did you
what's your
take it?
experience?
I took it in LA.
Okay.
I
At the basement of NoHo?
Yes,
Okay.
mama, back in NoHo, back up there in the valley. Girl, I broke my heel. I will never forget, but I just stood up and I was like, bitch, I'm gonna just balance on my right foot.
So I'm just going to reiterate to our viewers what the class is you, whoever you are, male, female,
That's right.
fat, thin, old, young, you wear heels, and it's really about let's move your body and let's build some self-confidence. This is so powerful.
Yeah, it really, it's the probably the biggest accomplishment I've had as an artist up to this point. In fact, I was just featured on Hey Queen with Johnny McGovern,
Yes.
and they had surprised me with some video messages from some of my dance students. And I mean, I just
From around the
bawled.
world, by the way.
Yes, from around the world. And I just bawled because, you know, especially during quarantine, I've had to be so focused on my social media.
Yeah.
In fact, that's what I came from today. If you're wondering why I'm dressed up like this, I'm making content on a regular schedule to post during quarantine. And that is how I am surviving, is all due to social media. And so my focus has had to shift, right? As a queen, as someone who needed to survive the pandemic in Los Angeles. And watching those videos, it really reminded me that, you know, as much as I love gaining followers, as much as I love getting paid to do TikToks, why I really do this is to change people's lives and to have them walk away from a 2-hour class and be changed for the rest of their life, to find friends that they would have never met had they not come to that, to build a place for people to feel like they belong. So anyways, I feel very grateful that my dear friend Kristen Lovell, who was managing me for many years, started Laganja's dance school with me and inspired me to continue that.
Is it frustrating to...
Yes.
Well, no, there's season 6, you know, it was on Logo, and now all of the seasons have been put on so many different platforms, such as Hulu, that people are watching it, you know, they're binge watching, especially during COVID, they're watching all of the seasons again. And so there's this new audience that hasn't seen season 6, and now it's like, oh, they're messaging you again, like taking you back to that time. And like we said, it wasn't, the aftermath of it was not the best. And you're like, but not only did I do that season, I have this whole other resume, and they're still like, you know, messaging you, I feel attacked, which, yeah, that was part of your journey, but that's not who you are right now, and that's not what you accomplished. It's like, you want to tell them, it's like, haven't you seen all this other stuff? How does that, how do you deal with that?
Well, you do want to tell them that,
Yep.
but ultimately how I've dealt with that and what I've learned is be grateful. It doesn't matter if they're saying they hate you, they love you. At the end of the day, if Laganja Estranja is coming out of their mouth, mama, you've done something right. And luckily, I've built enough courage and love for myself that even though it's negative to this day, as you said, when people watch season 6 for the first time, it doesn't bother me because I know who I am. I'm very confident in the artist I've become. And I know in due time, those people will come around. And if they don't, that's okay. They ain't paying my bills. So as RuPaul said, I ain't paying them no mind.
That part. And what I love about your social media is that we see you in all these photo shoots that really play with the idea of feminine versus masculine, which I think even mainstream Hollywood is, we're seeing, you know, these blockbuster A-list actors in action films start to show emotion. And I think in your photo shoots, so even if somebody was a newcomer to being a fan of yours, they're going to go to your social media and they're going to see this whole album of beautiful photo shoots where you exhibit both female and male, but there's this confidence. And I want to know, because, you know, before a show or whatever, I get super nervous, and you look so confident in every picture that you take. How do you psych yourself out for a day of being in a photo shoot where you're the focus? Sometimes half naked, sometimes in drag, sometimes in a mix of things.
Well, cannabis, A. I think cannabis gives me a lot of confidence in most situations. But B, I think you're really specifically touching on a lot of the photo shoots that I've been doing during quarantine, which was a part of my weekly series called Muse Me, which came out every Monday at 4:20, and it was a behind-the-scenes look at my collaborative partner, Robert Heyman, and I's work. And the way I'm able for those particular shoots to be able to be so confident is because of his directing. He is incredible at what he does. He does my makeup, my hair, my styling, the photography, the editing of the episode. I mean, he does it all. So for me, when I'm in those positions, I'm able to relax, actually. Because for the first time ever, I don't have to be the one in charge. I don't have to be the one who's improving in my head and coming up with creative and funny things to say. I get to just stand there and have Robert say, chin down, chin to the left, smile more, open your mouth, too much, okay, close your lips, perfect, tilt your hip out, yes. And he coaches me through every little step. And I will be honest, since working with him so fiercely in quarantine, we've worked together for 6 years. We've shot over 100 photo shoots together. But since we've worked so specifically closely in quarantine, recently when I've been doing photo shoots with other photographers, I've realized, like, God, I miss the lack of direction, because a lot of photographers, because I am a natural mover and I strike poses and will move, they won't say anything to me. They just let me do my do. And I've really learned during this time that I love someone who's going to put the doll in her place.
And it's always nice to have like a second perspective and just have someone that you know is like looking out for you in those instances. I recently was looking at your Instagram and saw some of these beautiful photos that you did with Bob of Scotland.
Yes.
And I mean, some of these photos just were like so put together so eloquently, but different dynamics. And
well, I did art direct all of those photos that you're talking about. So not to say that Bob isn't an amazing photographer, but I did art direct that entire shoot. I made sure I found all the models that I wanted. I brought in the props. I mean, I really am a one-man band. I've had to learn over the many years of being rejected, whether it be from Drag Race fans, whether it be from So You Think You Can Dance 2 seasons in a row, whether it be from the musical industry because I'm a queer person making hip-hop. At the end of the day, if I want something done, I can and I will do it.
That part.
Period.
That part. Laganja, question for you. As a veteran of drag, dance, entertainment, I mean, you really are like the full razzle-dazzle. What would you...
I love that.
You are. You really are. What would you say to... I feel like during quarantine, it's been giving people a lot of opportunities to learn new skills. And especially, I feel like a lot of folks have been picking up the lipstick, the lip gloss, and the wigs. What would you say to little baby drag queens out there that are practicing in their bedrooms right now? What would you say that...
I have the same advice for baby queens all the time. I get asked this question, and it's always the same for me, and that is focus on your personality. Yes. Anybody can learn to do makeup. Anybody can hire a stylist. Anybody can work their ass off to save money to do all those things. But it takes a very special person, an artist, to find a real being that's worth promoting. And I think if you start on the inside first and you figure out what it is your character is, who you want to project, what kind of, type of people and work you want to be involved in, then everything else will fall into place. But at the end of the day, if you start with the exterior, you're really missing the point of being a drag queen. Because to me, drag queens, we are the forefront of the LGBTQ AI+ community. We are the leaders. We are the people who inspire others. So yes, you can look gorgeous. Yes, you can be in East Saint Laurent. But when you open that mouth, are you going to have something that people can really get behind?
Very true. Very true.
And I think the drag queen fans are really now, they're scrutinizing everything left and right. And so if you don't have that sincerity in your drag, you can tell. I mean, even the last season... And, the biggest thing in rewatching your season for you to come on the show, that season just seemed very vicious. There was just a really heightened sense of one-upping, and it was actually eye-opening to see because it was kind of an ugly season. And then we see the season 12, we saw Widow talking about getting along with the girls. And we did see, there was some cattiness, which every reality show has to have. But overall, it was like, let's have fun at this competition. There was no fun in your season.
It was very serious.
It was.
Everybody was sharks, and we wanted to win.
Yeah, the girls were tucked tight.
Yeah.
But it's like, no other drag queen looks like you, no matter what your thing is. We've talked that, people can assume that, oh, well, you look like Bianca Del Rio. And you're like, no, I don't look like Bianca Del Rio. I'm Cardi G.
I used to get that all the time.
Really?
I used to. Okay, my old mug, if you saw me, girl, I look like...
I have to be honest.
I used to look like Bianca's makeup wipe at the end of the night.
Interesting.
Girl, smudged. My eyebrows looked like they were going in different directions. It was a hot mess.
Well, hey, everybody starts somewhere.
For sure. No one starts a pretty queen, and if you did, you didn't paint yourself.
Right.
Period.
Period. And I used to get it all the time, and I think that moved me to kind of like what you said, work on my personality, because I do have like a quick wit, and that comes from like
cannot
childhood
learn
trauma.
That and you can't fake it. You just
You
can't.
either
You
are,
can get better at it though.
Yes.
You can. Because
can.
I honestly, believe it or not, when I first started all this, I wasn't good on the mic. It wasn't until I toured the world with House of Edwards and listened to Shangela and Alyssa talk that I became confident. I really wasn't. I come from musical theater, Ma. I had a script. I had something to practice. I wasn't having to be the funny one. I wasn't having to be the one to riff. Yes, I'd done improv
that's a good
class,
point.
but I wasn't comfortable on a mic even to do something like this now. I mean, no way.
But I think that also speaks to the point that like this doesn't happen overnight. And I think that a lot of people have that expectation of like, wait a minute, I know how to walk in heels.
Thanks to Instagram, it is. I mean, thanks to TikTok, people are becoming sensations.
Yeah, but then they actually get in a room. It's like, okay,
and then they suck.
You get
That's
back-
what I'm saying. So you
Oh,
got to be able to talk
girl.
yourself.
And there's some girls I know that are afraid to take gigs because they haven't done that. It's like, say yes to gigs.
Yes.
Because what's the worst going to happen? You have a terrible night, and then tomorrow's a new day. I mean, I know that from hosting. Some of these interviews go really well. Some of them go terribly. But I will never say no to doing one.
For
Absolutely.
sure. For sure. I mean, and we all have, if you can't grow without those falling downs and
have
those
to.
embarrassments.
I mean, even
like,
Meryl Streep has had her horrible movies.
I always say you're not a true artist if you're not willing to be A, vulnerable, and B, pushing yourself to grow.
that part.
This is my first time today to ever do a Halloween makeup. Trust me, this is 4
Really?
hours in. I freaked out with my friend. I had a whole
So
thing.
good.
And,
It's gorgeous.
but by the end of it, it was like, okay, but I did it now.
Yeah,
And so
and
now
you
the
can-
next time, hopefully, it'll take 3 hours, but you have to push yourself. I never knew how to do Marcel waves before quarantine. Now I'm a master at them. So
What's
you
worse,
you
is it the
have
finger curls?
exactly.
Come
So you have
1920s
to,
is my
the
time period.
best,
Yeah.
right? Mine too.
Pure
too.
wiggatry.
So you have to be able to get out there and try new things and fall down.
So Laganja, we see you as the activist with a strong voice, and I have to tell you, you overcame a lot from season 6. I know you went in there with this image. I mean, you were doing a competition coming into the workroom. Those were the outfits. Like that was its own competition.
I actually just dressed that way. I'm still sticking by it. I said it then and I'll say it now, honey. I dress fabulous no matter what, okay?
I love that. But then we see this strength and this personality. But I want to know, how are you when you wake up and your hair's sticking up and you're wearing sweats and you're eating like Cheerios like every normal person? Because we don't
In
get
your
to
luxurious
see.
Versace bed, because we know that the doll loves the Versace.
Yes, in my luxurious back house in Hollywood, which I like to call a bungalow because it makes it sound fancier.
Hey, if it's in Hollywood, it is called a bungalow. But how is that person the most different than the Laganja we see when you're an activist, when you have to be out there? There's a lot of strength that we see, which is so different than the season 6 we saw, because we saw strength in a whole different way, and you were edited in a different way as well. But then there's the real person that we all wake up where we're just not having a good day, or we're a little lonely, and like we just don't feel pretty. How is that person the most from who we see right now?
And what do you mean by when you say how is that the most? So like how am I the most different?
Yeah. So like if Laganja is big
Strong
and
and
brass,
confident, right?
Like you're watching soap operas, feeding your cat. Like who is that person? I guess is what I'm asking.
Sure. Well, I hate to break the glass ceiling, but unfortunately, even when all of this comes off, I'm pretty much the same. I do have those moments, absolutely. But for the most part, I've learned over the last 14 years in Los Angeles to build a very strong, system for myself. So when I start to get that way, and when I wake up and I'm, looking at Jeffree Star's Instagram and comparing myself to him and thinking, God, only several years ago we were friends, and why don't I have that? I've now learned the skills to pull back and to say, but you don't want to be him. You want to be a nice celebrity. You want to be somebody who has a platform and then continues to help others around you, as opposed to, segregate them. So it's been a trial and error process for me, but I can honestly say and very confidently say, even when I wake up and I don't feel beautiful, there is a part of me that underneath all of that says, but you are so beautiful, babe. And because I've been able to tap into that, I'm able to keep going and keep being strong. It sounds very like, oh, unicorns and bubbles, like, oh, really? But no, of course, I get down, but I just don't allow myself to have that depression leak over like it did before, to have it leak over to alcoholism, to have it leak over to negative thoughts that are going to get in my way of my professionalism, to have it leak over so that I can't get up out of bed and go and do the 16 the 16 things that I've organized for the one day. I mean, I sort of also don't allow myself any other option. I book myself to full capacity. I mean, the minute this interview finishes, I have to go back over to my friend's house to finish
something like right up
film TikToks.
Until this, yeah.
So exactly. So I don't really allow myself to get to that place of, discouragement, because I know when I get there, it's just a moment, and a moment will pass.
Is it lonely to be Laganja
Yes.
in terms of love and dating?
Yes, it's very lonely, even not out of dating. I mean, I have a million friends. I'm so thankful. 2 of the best friends in the world who see me every other day. But I'm a very lonely person. I think you find that in this industry, no matter how successful
This industry is a really lonely
it's just
one.
lonely. We work so hard and we spend so many hours, and then we hope that all these, content we're creating gets success, and then it doesn't, and you feel bad about yourself. And, so it's very easy to feel lonely. It's very easy to feel depressed. And that's why I just don't allow it. I force myself to look at, but what do you have? What can you do? Instead of, I'm less than, or I'm not enough.
But it's funny because I think you're a control freak. Like
Yes.
I'm a control freak. It's like we want people to help us and be part of our journey.
Yes.
But then when they're there, it's like, just get out of the way.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Unless they're really helping, and in which case I'm open to that. But 9 times
But
out of
it's
10,
usually
I
it's
feel
not-
like
yeah.
I'm going to help myself
And especially
better.
so drag queen, like you have like your like ways that you have
Yes.
things done, and you're like, oh, you're helping, but please don't help that way.
Right.
Help this way.
Right. No, I think as drag queens, we have a specific way of knowing what works for us. And unfortunately, to explain that to others is not always as easy as it is to just do it ourselves.
That part.
It's funny because all of the different types, and on the show we have every type of celebrity, from Academy Award winner to a porn star to a reality TV star. And
I think
a
I'm all
common
of those.
theme-
Wait, what was it? Just kidding.
What's your Just for Fans?
Right.
But one of the common themes is loneliness, and that unfortunately usually comes at the price of success, because you don't have time to share your journey or coach somebody. But at the times when you have your really high successes or your really low lows, it's
Challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I have a dog, and that's why I have cannabis, and that's why I have 2 best friends, because for me, it is very hard to really connect with people the way I've connected with my 2 best friends over the last 6 years. I mean, they know ins and outs of me. They can tell, the minute I start taking off the nails, oh, she's relaxing, or the minute I start gluing on the nails, oh, here we go, let's just be quiet, so I'm very lucky in that way.
And we do see you at different stages. We see you in full whatever. We see you getting high, with your friends and
Yeah.
really fun videos. And I love that about you because, the ganja I knew was from season 6, which is such a small portion
right.
of who you are. So it's exciting to know this. What do you want for yourself personally for the next 5 years?
Well, I was about to say, let me really digest that. What do I want personally for myself? Well, I want to continue on this path of loving and supporting myself, as opposed to what I've done for many years, which is tell myself I'm not good enough or this could be better. So I want to continue positive reinforcement with myself.
Come on, Equality Vodka kick.
I would like, thank you. I would like to officially launch my album, Hyconic, and really pursue music in a much more real way. I've dropped a single every year since Drag Race, but finally I've come to the conclusion that it's all about consistency, which is why I'm dropping my first single November 30th, Daddy, and then we'll be moving on to one in January and February, and another
It's
one
called Daddy?
Uh-huh.
Can you give us a little, what's
I
the
don't need no
theme?
daddy trying to buy my love. Only call him daddy when I wanna fuck.
Oh.
Going there. And that's the thing, I've been so embarrassed to own the fact that I am a, pot smoking slut whore. And I finally have gotten to the point in my life where I realize that I can be a pot smoking slut whore and still be an incredibly kind, well-educated person.
And why is ever exploring your sexuality a bad thing?
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
slut
I work
shaming
with
is such a
kids.
real thing.
I work with children a lot of the times, and so now I'm putting out a song talking
Their
about.
parents are watching more Pornhub than we even know.
Wow, period, point blank. And at the end of the day, you know, I destigmatize cannabis, I destigmatize sex, I destigmatize gender, and so it's all the same to me.
But I think we are having more open conversations, and I think sex and even the porn industry, like I said, when we have porn stars on the show, the ratings go through the roof because, you know, a lot of people watch porn. even though
Everyone
they
watches
won't
porn.
Of
admit it.
course, I do. I love it.
But then I'll get some of the other listeners that say, "Oh, I can't believe you talked to a porn star." I'm like, well, number one, a lot of them are my friends, and they're more real, and they work a lot harder than a lot of other people in any of their industry.
Mama, you get plowed for 7.5 hours and let me know how fierce you are, okay?
That part.
But they're great business people as
Period.
well. But everybody watches porn. Everybody has sex, and I think we're starting to have, like I said, more open conversations about our sexuality, about the LGBT community. I think people, even in the cannabis community, we know, you know, it's from the Hispanic community, it's from the African American community. I think even kids now, because they see figures on TV, on social media, from whatever small city they are, that represent who they are, and they're able at a younger age to say, "Hey, I think I'm part of this crowd, or I'm expressing myself like this."
And I mean, like, that's the magic of, like, if you think about, like, I think about a couple of years ago when I was in high school and even college.
A couple of years ago, girl,
you
Beverly
know.
Hills 90210.
That's
the
why I wear
original
orange wig,
theory.
because you can't see my grades. But you think about, like, I did not know of what the words trans, non-binary.
Me either.
There's so many different languages that we have, bits and pieces in language that we have now to express and identify ourselves. That girl 30 years ago, none of that. And even in different cultures, we have different ways to express ourselves.
I mean, I didn't come out till late in college. I didn't have gay sex till after college, and then it was horrifying. Anyway,
Same.
Yeah, but if we would have had better conversations earlier, we wouldn't have made some of the mistakes, I think, early on in coming out. We have to provide a safe environment for our youth because they're our voters, they're our future politicians, and we see if we're not represented in politics, then that's that. Laganja, are you ready to play a little rapid fire?
You know I am. I love to get it on and get it on rapidly.
Oh, is that true?
She's got bookings to go to.
No.
Yeah, I do.
No, but like in the bedroom, I think like you have candles and you have the atmosphere set.
Well, in the bedroom, it's me and my hand. It's me and Angela. So no candles are set, but the CBD lube is out.
And at least the hand doesn't talk back.
But mine does. It's like poof.
She raps.
It's like
she
what,
raps
What
back.
are you watching? No, but do you think some people are kind of afraid of your energy to not ask you out on a date?
Yes.
Or yeah.
Yes.
It must.
I think people are afraid of me in general. Look at me. Mary, I'd be scared of me too. Shit.
Well, I'm going to be honest. You know, this has been such a great interview. You were
Thank
so
you.
down to earth, and I honestly didn't know what to expect.
I love that. Most people don't, you see, and I think that that's a good thing. I set myself up for people to be like, well, what are we going to get here? And then they're like, but wow, she's so nice. So see, that works out. It was in my favor.
And you know, and there's times in
through.
life that you can be the diva. You can make a scene at a place. I mean, like, you just can't. Okay, rapid fire. There's a new strain of weed named after you, besides, of course, your performance name, Laganja Estranja. What is the name of this strain?
After my dog, Little Dabbers.
Oh,
That is
that's
such a great
adorable.
name, by the way.
But also so good.
Right.
And it could be for, like, the beginners.
Yeah.
It's just a little
Little
dab.
dabbers.
Little dab,
Be like a
little
nice
dab.
little light weed, heavy on CBD.
What's a genre of music that would terrify you to have to choreograph for the MTV Music Awards?
Heavy metal.
Oh. We don't see a lot of heavy metal anymore, do we?
No.
No. Worst date you've ever had?
I
There's a
don't go
pause.
on dates, so I'm like, oh, worst date.
Worst hookup. Give us worst hookup.
Yeah.
Well, I always make the hookups work for me, sweetheart.
That
So
part.
But
there's
we've
no
all
worst
had
one
worst
there.
hookups.
Worst hookup? I mean, Mary, I don't know. The worst hookup would be a fan who got so excited by me they couldn't get hard.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's always kind of disappointing.
performance
Photosethum.
anxiety.
Photosethum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Strangest fan request.
Don't really have strange ones. They are very sweet to me. They just want me to make videos and say I love them and cheer them up. I really don't have strange requests.
That's so sweet.
Yeah.
You are choreographing the next American Music Awards with Madonna. You have to pick 3 dancers from the drag race history. Who are they?
Oh my God.
It's not about friendship. it's
Kennedy
about the best.
Davenport.
The
Okay.
house
Okay.
down.
Best dancer. You know what? I'm going to pick her because she's got acrobats in her back pocket and she's gorgeous. And I also want to represent the trans community. So it would be Sonique, Kylie Love.
And we're seeing Sonique.
And then if I had to pick a third to round me out, let's see. I want to be very diverse. So let's pick a bigger queen. I'm going to go with Latrice Royale.
Girl, she knucks and bucks.
She sure
got
does.
good-
And she could also incorporate props. You know, the fans and the guns.
I've never
and all
seen her
that.
perform
Yes,
in-
girl.
in-
Oh,
in
she's
real
Oh
life.
my
team.
gosh! Watch her lip sync, and you're
She
like,
turns it.
You're like, she has the best health.
Can you
insurance.
imagine? That's a sickening performance. Kennedy Davenport, Kylie Sonique,
And it's diverse.
Latrice, and me.
And that's
gonna turn
That's
it.
pretty diverse.
Girl,
That's gonna
ticket
turn it.
sales already gone.
Yeah.
You know, we talk about how important allies are, and I think you're an ally in so many different ways. Like you said, for the Caucasian community to be able to talk to the Hispanic community, to the Black community, I think is so great.
I mean,
From the
Mary, I was
cannabis-
just promoting for the Filipino voter group. I don't care what race you are. If there's a platform for this little white person to lend his voice to, or they's voice to, or whatever I am, I'll be there.
I love
That's
it. I'm so
everything.
enchanted by you. So, when
thanks.
your album comes out, can you come back?
I would love to. I would love to watch my music video with you guys here, which will be dropping
Oh,
November 30th.
yes.
It's very explicit, so get your dildos ready, because you're gonna wanna enjoy yourself while you watch
good.
my
I just
video.
put mine in the dishwasher, so they should be ready.
And the dishwasher, he means his boyfriend Paco. Anyway.
Oh, okay.
Funny of you to assume I have a boyfriend.
I think I know a Paco too.
Oh, God. Laganja, tell our audience where you want them to find you, follow you.
You can find me on all social media platforms at Laganja Estranja, except for on TikTok, because I am a millennial, which means I was late to that platform. So I am the only Laganja Estranja. And be sure you check out my YouTube every Thursday at 4:20 for Transformation Thursdays. If you want to see how I created this Jack
have to.
Skellington look, you better tune in.
And it's one of those channels that you just watch video after video.
Oh my gosh.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
different things. There's photo shoots. There's getting high. I mean, there's interviews. There's political. You know, I am a multi-talented artist, so I have a lot of interests.
That part.
I'm so enchanted.
Thanks.
Cardi G, tell our audience where you want them to find you. Besides Grindr.
And Craigslist. And
you-
OfferUp. Oh shit, I shouldn't keep going.
Not on Wish.
What's OfferUp?
OfferUp, that's where you get furniture.
Oh,
Discounted, used, and abused.
furniture.
But I just assumed,
that was
you
my
know,
name. That was my
Cardi
name.
would have been like, OfferUp, I think that'll work for me.
Yeah, you know what? That was my name in prison. Offer it up. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram and all the other little hiders at I'm just Cardi G. Officially. Boom.
And it's Cardi, C-A-R-T-I.
C-A-R-T-G.
Oh.
Yes. It was
Thank God for your friend there, because you
Girl.
see, I would have been researching you wrong.
Yeah, the wrong way. Yeah.
I'm going to admit,
It's in
our
a-
first poster for the show had a misspelling.
Oh, 100%.
was
That's
my
why it was
fault.
your first.
It was my fault.
Everyone makes a mistake on their first.
We've been hanging out. We hung out like for
We've
4 days straight. in Palm
literally.
Springs. Yeah.
I love that.
Socially distanced, of course. And you can catch us this Thursday, October 29th, at the Drag4Fans Boo Bash.
It's going to be
You're
so
performing.
cute. I am performing. It's going to be really cute. A lot of the girls are really turning it
There's
out.
a lot of fun girls, and it's all digital, so you can watch from the comfort of your home with your family. It's going to be family friendly, and it's going to be not family friendly, and you can win some stuff.
Yeah, there's prizes. A lot of
Wigs, nails.
wigs, nails. There's some enamel pins and merch from some of our favorite Drag Race girls.
And I'm doing horrible Halloween puns, and Kurt, I have to tell you, you are my inspiration for that. So in between each act,
Yes,
I'm
I
doing
love it.
horrible Halloween puns. Well, that's all, folks, for this show. It's a grab bag of fun every weekend on The Rocks. Coming up, we have Michael Urie. Peppermint is coming by. We have a few other surprises, by the way. Thank you to our engineer, Kurt, my guest, of course, my guest co-host, and our production assistant today, Michael Vega, who will be coming on to talk about movies and stuff like that. But most of all, our fabulous audience, thank you so much. It's so great to be back in the studio, by the way. And if you're listening to us, take a look at us on YouTube, because we're very cute. Stay happy, stay healthy, and stay tipsy. We're going to take some cast photos, so go to @OnTheRocksOnAir Instagram to look at our cast photos. Bye. This has been another episode of On The Rocks. Tweet me and slide into my DMs on Twitter and Instagram @OnTheRocksOnAir. Find everything On The Rocks for free at OnTheRocksRadioshow.com. Subscribe, like, review, and share. Until next week, stay fabulous.